It's just like, what's
Oh,
going
man.
on? What's happening? Okay, I'm gonna go down.
These are two of my favorite people. I'm gonna shut up. I'll let you guys introduce yourselves. So Keegan, tell us about yourself. Where are you? Where'd you come from?
I am stinting in Puerto Rico, so this is my second year here. I've been in Puerto Rico for about a year and a half. I graduated from UC San Diego. Woohoo! Go Dragons. And I majored in cognitive science.
What up? My name is Shun. I am out in Tokyo, Japan right now. I serve as staff out here. This is my third year on staff. I interned for a year in San Diego after graduating, and then I stinted for a year, and then after stinting, I joined staff. Be careful if you drink the punch, you're gonna get out here. I graduated back in 2014. I studied psychology, and yeah, I miss San Diego. Oh man, I miss San Diego so much.
California burritos.
Yo.
Surf and serve. That's what we should. That's our new promo.
Surf and serve.
I remember I think it was my junior year, and I was at a winter conference, and the speaker at the time, he asked for all the Japanese American Christians to stand up at winter conference, and I'm thinking like, it's white, but there's probably like 10 of us that are gonna stand up, so I stand up, and I look around the room, and there's one other guy who's standing up. I'm like, oh, that's my brother. I see him, he's standing up, and there's just one other person in the way back in this giant conference hall. There's only 3 of us that were Japanese American Christians, and it just like blew my mind that there were so few Christians in Japan, and that like broke my heart, because that's part of me, that's part of my identity. It's also a people that I want to love and serve, and to know that there was like less than 1% of the population that are Christian that know the Lord really shook me. So that was really instrumental in getting me out here. And then how I joined staff, I think it really came down to just one question of like, how am I going to steward my youth? How am I going to steward my 20s? Yeah, I could go to grad school, or yeah, I could have started looking for jobs and working. But I think when I was praying and thinking about it, there's not a lot I would have rather done in my 20s than to serve out here as a missionary, to serve and share the gospel with people. Because I feel like I could always go back and do those things. I feel like the Lord could always like open those kinds of doors later in life, but it's just easier to do ministry right now than it might be in the future. And like, I don't want to throw that away. So that's just a small snapshot of how the Lord got me out here.
Awesome, man. Thank you. Appreciate your journey, Shun.
I think a lot of times through college, actually through our lives and in American culture, we're taught this life, or this like dream, this American dream of like, when I grow up, I need to go to college, I need to know what I want to do, I need to graduate, I need to get a job, I need to build a family, I need to build a life, and then I'll be like happy, kind of realizing that the American dream, well, 1, isn't promised to anybody necessarily, and 2, it can't satisfy us. Like God is the only thing that's ever going to completely satisfy us. And so that was one thing that I got over. And then the other thing was that I wasn't raised Christian. I became a Christian in high school. And so part of being a missionary is raising support. And so for me, it was kind of hard to make connections with people. I didn't have like a vast Christian network. But I'm here today. So, if I can do it, anyone can do it. That's what I think. Were you recording all that? Oh, no.
I know, I just started.
Oh. I am so excited to share this. I think I've shared this with some people. Like last year, I met a Puerto Rican student named Luis, and he came to just one of our events super randomly. Like walked like a couple miles to our house, just like showed up, like everyone was like, who is this guy? So I just like walked up, was like, hey man, like who are you? Like what's up? We get into a coffee shop. We're just kind of talking about our lives. He's gone through a ton of really hard stuff. Like his dad has dementia, his mom has mental health problems. They're super poor, like struggling to eat sometimes. And then I just was sharing about what God did in my life. He's recognized in his own life that everything he's tried to do to feel satisfied, like never worked. Like he's done drugs, he's tried to be successful, he's tried everything. He said he like at the end of the day he always feels empty inside. I was just like, dude, that's so deep. I can't believe you're telling me this. He basically says, wow, like you're just so lucky. Like God just seems like he's done so much stuff in your life. And then I was like, well, yeah, I guess you could call it luck, but I mean, like God's love isn't just for me, you know, like it's for everybody. And the way he feels about me is the same way he feels about you, and he wants to do the same exact things in your life. And so basically, he ended up expressing that he wanted to accept Jesus. And I've never had that experience before where I've talked to somebody and then in front of me they're like, I want to know Jesus. And so I was kind of like, just kind of stumbling like, oh, he said yeah, so what do I do now? But so we prayed. He prayed to receive Jesus. Woohoo! And then the coolest part for me was we finished praying and he goes, oh, I said, how do you feel? And he goes, I don't know, I just feel kind of different, like I just feel like I turned a page or something. I was like, oh, that's interesting. Why do you say that? And then he goes, when we were praying, I just kind of like saw this image of this book, and then it had all this stuff in it, and the page turned, and then it was just a blank page. And then I was like, bruh, like literally, like that's exactly what Jesus does. Like your past is still there. It's important. It's part of your life, but he just like wipes it clean, man, and gives you a new start. And then he started asking me all these like really cute things like, so do I have to stop smoking weed? Like, can I still listen to gangster rap? Like he literally like verbatim, can I still listen to gangster rap? And I was like, what do you mean, bro? We'll worry about all that later. Like that's not important right now. So anyway, and then I got to disciple him for the whole year and just watch the Holy Spirit like changing him slowly but surely. So that was a really cool experience for me.
Dude, that's awesome, man.
Wow. What I've learned about community out here is I think in the States, you kind of see where people like they learn about Jesus, they choose to believe about Jesus, and then they jump into community. And then they learn how to behave like a Christian. Or I feel like in Japan, the order's a little mixed up, where I've seen so many people jump into Christian community first. Like that is the biggest thing that affects their lives, because it's interacting with Christians and it's being with Christians that shows the sweetness of the gospel to men and women here. So we've had so many students that like are like in Bible studies or like in like discipleship relationships, and they're not even Christian yet. So we don't call them those things, but they're like they learn how to be discipled and they learn like what it means to like share their faith when they don't even have faith yet. And so it's I don't know. I think I've seen community just play such a big part in students' lives, in my own life out here. Like not a lot of Christians out here, so hard to find friends, but like you can invite non-Christians into your community and you can share the gospel like that. Like I think that is a powerful witness, and it opens doors to be able to share more concretely what the gospel is and how they can also have it in their lives. Young men and women jump into our community, say this is different, what's different about this, and this is something I'm looking for. And it's like, well, you're not looking for us, you're looking for Jesus. Here it is.
So much of the isolation and relational detachment.
Oh yeah.
There.
Oh yeah.
People that really listen and care for them and aren't just working, 18 hours a day.
Yeah.
Amazing stories. Like God is doing some incredible things there, but we as a community, we want to be better connected to you. We want to know how to pray for you personally, for the people you serve, and for your teams. So,
we're in the season of a lot of unknown. You guys probably seen the news about the coronavirus. We've had a lot of things canceled because of that. I mean, a lot of our events are like gathering together, but because the virus, like we can't gather together so much. So we're trying to be creative and finding ways to connect with students and still like pursue them well. We see a lot of graduating seniors this year. We have like 14 of them, which is big. But when your movement's only 20 students and 14 of them go, you're kind of stuck in a pit. So you can be praying for us. We start a new school year in April. So you can be praying for us as we start the new school year, for the Lord's leading, for the Lord to raise up more leaders. And yeah, I love that you guys are willing to pray for me. Like, it makes me just miss, like, I'm like, oh, this is like my campus. This is like my home that I grew up in. The people that I love are still there. So I feel very loved by that. Thank you so much for praying.
Shun Nakamura, we love you. We'll be praying for you.
True.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Our whole team, except for like one person, is like moving back to the States at the end of this semester. So we're kind of in a big transition time. But at the same time, we've gotten to start like a student leadership team on one of our campuses. And so we're kind of in like this like handing off the baton stage. So if you guys would be praying just for that whole process, that the Lord would be directing us as we try and finish well and set up others well for success in the future. And then if you guys want to pray for Puerto Rico in general, I mean, there's lots of like religiosity on the island, but like no one really knows Jesus. Lots of political corruption, sexual abuse and alcoholism is a very common like family struggle. Tons of poverty, and then the earthquakes that have been happening. So if you guys want to be praying for the nation too, that'd be really appreciated.
As people are watching this recording, if they're going to pray as well, I guess we can. Lord, thank you so much for these two men, for their faith, for the process in their lives of surrendering to you, giving you their yes, and continuing every day, deciding to say yes to you, to trust you, to not let fear, control, a desire to direct their own lives take precedent, but surrendering their paths to you. We just pray for these situations, just poverty and other kinds of suffering in Puerto Rico, and coronavirus, and just a lot of stuff up in the air in Japan. The movements, big transitions coming up with students, with staff. Trust you to handle these situations, God. I thank you for these things. Amen.
Amen. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I'll just recording now. Oh, great. Well, if it freezes again, I'll just stop talking and just assume you guys are saying things.